23 years ago, arguably one of the greatest wrestling promotions the world has ever seen, WCW, World Championship Wrestling, took its final bow when World Wrestling Entertainment purchased all rights to the company. Today, in the year 2024, I will be interviewing one of WCW's classics, Ernest the Cat Miller. The man is a three-time World Karate Champion, and he certainly has some soul. So join us today as we delve into the life now of Ernest the Cat Miller. Victoire. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Victoire. Today, I am here with Ernest the Cat Miller, three-time World Karate Champion, former WCW and WWE superstar. Ernest, welcome to Victoire. How are you doing, my friend?
Man, thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me. You looking good too. Looking in shape, everything. So
Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. It's hard work, as you know, especially if
oh
it's
yeah.
harder for you being on the road, doing
And
it
and,
on the
and
road.
no, me coming, I tell you, as you get older, it's harder to keep that weight off and harder to maintain. So yeah, things get harder, but get easier if you never let it go.
That's true. And you know, Ernest, you've been, active your entire career. So I wanted to start there right at the beginning with your karate career, your three-time World Karate Championships. So for those of you that you don't know, Ernest was heavily involved in martial arts. He still is. So Ernest, can you fill the audience in on your journey, world of karate?
Well, I started taking karate when I was 11 years old.
Okay.
And I started participating in a karate tournament when I was about maybe 13.
Okay.
So, here I am 61. I just had a tournament last week,
Okay.
which I won. It was a 40 and over ring.
Uh-huh.
So, I participated in kickboxing. I was a kickboxing karate champion, tournament karate champion. I did everything that they had out there, because the UFC wasn't out there and mixed
Right.
martial art wasn't out there. It wasn't a lot of Thai boxing out there. So I was able to do the things that was out there for us in martial arts. And that was like kickboxing, karate tournaments, some jujitsu classes, but not contests, but not many.
Yeah. Did you get to travel a lot when you were participating?
Man, I did travel a lot, but they didn't have the tournaments that they have now. Now you go all over the U.S.
Yeah.
Back then it was just you travel in the southern area, the southeast area. You travel to a couple of tournaments there, and that was about it.
Yeah. Now you say it was three-time World Karate Champion, correct?
Yeah,
Three
yes,
times.
yes.
So
So what they have at a certain age, I think I was about maybe 25. They came up with this circuit,
mhm,
a karate tournament. They put together 12 of the top national tournament in 12 different cities.
okay.
And you travel that circuit, you follow each tournament, one once a month.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the year, they will total up the points on who won the most first places or who won the most tournaments.
Yeah.
And they will be deemed a crown the world champion.
Wow. So
And then that, go ahead.
I was going to say, what was your first championship? What year was that?
Man, now you got me going back some years, man.
There.
This is one of my world champions. Chip, I forgot what up. I had it up here, but it's not up here now. So yeah, I won a couple of world championships, and I forgot what age because I was doing a lot of stuff during those time. I never ever just totally concentrated on one thing like karate.
Yeah.
At the time I was doing karate, I was also playing college football and then pro football, and so I was always doing other things around. I never just really focused all my attention on martial arts tournaments.
Mhm.
So
When you said football, was that in college football? Was that in Atlanta?
And well, I played college football in Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, very storied career for all sports.
oh
Uh,
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Then I kind of went into trying out with the NFL. I had to try out with New England Patriots, New York Jets. I was drafted by New Jersey Generals. So I went up there to play of the United States Football League. So I went to play with them. But when I got up to New England Patriot, I think it was like 87. I think that was my last year. I had been out of karate about 3 years, 3 or 4 years. So after I was up there, I met a football player. His name was Andre Tippett. Andre Tippett was the all-pro linebacker for world champion New England Patriots. And he played football and he did karate. So, him and I were talking when I was up there. And he said, hey, you should come to the karate tournament. I said, you fighting in karate tournament? He said, yes. So I went to watch the karate tournament, and that sparked something right back in me. So right after that, I went and found me a karate school up there in Connecticut.
Mhm.
And I started back practicing and working out. Then
Okay.
about 2 years later, I started back sparring and fighting. And then I got put on what they call a national sponsored karate team. It was called Paul Mitchell National Karate Team. The hair guy, he
Oh yeah,
decided to
Paul Mitchell.
sponsor. Yeah, he decided to sponsor a team, and I was on that first team, a national team. So we traveled everywhere,
Wow.
Jamaica. We went everywhere people were fighting.
Yeah. Gosh. So and how many years did you do that? How many years were you?
I did that about professionally. Because I was still had dreams and ambitions of playing pro football. So I only did that about 3 years, and then I thought about trying out again one more time, and I didn't know. I forgot what happened. I didn't go with it was the year they had the strike.
Okay.
So the NFL had a strike when all the football players, the main guys, were not playing that year. So what they did, they brought in a bunch of what they call scabs. That's guys who wouldn't have made the team if the other players was out there. So they tried to use those guys, continue on with the season. So when that happened right there, I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna start back teaching karate and I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna start teaching karate and I'm gonna fight karate. I'm gonna start doing tournament. And I was already on the sponsor team, so I just stayed with Paul Mitchell, called him up and told him that I was coming back again. And I moved back to Atlanta from Connecticut, started teaching karate and full time. And then on the weekend, I would travel the world doing competing in karate tournament sponsored by Paul Mitchell.
Okay. Wow. So that would have led us into the 90s now, about the time when you were discovered. I believe it was Eric Bischoff that discovered you for World Championship Wrestling. Is that correct?
Well, Eric didn't discover me. I mean, I was a great athlete and a well-known, documented karate guy. So
Yeah.
people in the martial art world knew who I was, and they knew a lot about me.
Yeah.
And when Eric Bischoff just came in, he came and he saw me, and he was like, "Hey, man, we need you on our TV show." So that was about where that might have been about 95,
Okay.
94, 95. And it took me 2 years before I actually took him up on that offer.
No. So presumably then you had to go into training, which was the then WCW power plant. Was that where you?
Man, if you want to call it training, I was in the power plant for maybe about 2 months before I was on Monday Night Nitro TV.
Wow. That was.
So yeah, so I really didn't get a lot of training, but during the year, I would occasionally go back to work with Sarge and those guys at the power plant. So I would show up down there and get some work in, but they had me on the road a lot though. My character was more not a wrestling character, it was more of what I was really all about: martial arts, kicks, punches, throws, just martial arts. So they found a nice little niche, a nice little spot. in with Glacier and Chris Canyon,
Yeah.
which was a karate thing, so martial art thing. So they slipped me right in that. So that started me off, you know, doing Monday night, Thursday night. And it kind of got me off
Yeah. Yeah. And
going strong too.
it was strong as well. Your rise, especially with your character development. I think a lot of fans that remember you fondly. Predominantly would have been when you started the James Brown. The real cat started to emerge there with the bleach.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, yes. That was late into my. That was a little late on into the career. I think that was maybe they tried me out. They just had me. I was single, and they just had me coming out just like I was just this guy from a karate guy from Atlanta, Georgia, and they had trying to make me a baby face. But then once I got in with Glacier and those guys, those they saw something in me, and they start kind of working on a scheme, uh, something to promote me. They start working on a game plan.
Yeah.
So when they got the game plan down, by that time the Glacier stuff was gone by then. They don't know what happened to it, just kind of dissolved. They just decided to not use it anymore. And they started pushing me as a single guy. And
Yeah.
as a single guy, I kind of turned heel because I had a little bit more experience in the ring. So,
Mhm.
the crowd started liking me. I started adding a little bit here and a little bit there. Before you know it, you had the James Brown, blonde hair karate guy in the ring,
Yeah.
Ernest the Cat Miller.
Yeah. Yeah. And your mic skills, from what I recall, they were phenomenal. I mean, you really
It,
knew how to work the crowd on
You
the mic.
know that's exactly what it is, man. It was just
Mhm.
having fun, working the crowd, if you guys want to call it that. But to me, it was just having fun.
Yeah, yeah, you really did a good job there. So when you were there at the height of everything in WCW, how did that compare in your mind? Were you still kind of craving the martial arts world, or were you just having so much fun in wrestling that was it for you at that point?
It was a job.
Mhm.
Instead of what most people think it became fun, to me, it became more of a job. Each and every week I was there, you knew that this is not just fun because you can break your neck, you can do a lot of stuff to yourself, injured yourself to the point to where you can't walk the next day. Your body was sore, your ankles were sore. You just sore all the time, but you had to go to work because it was a job.
Yeah. Now, did you suffer any major injuries during that time period?
I mean, I got the typical elbows and ankles, and I tore my ACL. So I had to have surgery on that. But other than that, I did pretty well, not to get a lot of injury.
Yeah.
Other ones.
Yeah, because today you're still faring up. I mean, you're still competing in karate championships. You're still very physically active. So you've stood the test of time. I mean, obviously you look,
Yeah.
which was another question that I was going to ask. A lot of the wrestlers, some of them have done well post career. You seem to have really flourished post career. I mean, you were in the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. You had a cameo in that film. You've done other little films here and there. You've done other things. So, how did you transition post? Because obviously the rest.
Well, let's go back and think about this.
Okay.
When I was in the wrestling movie, it was not a cameo.
Okay.
I was an actor, and that was a part I had to play.
Yeah.
That was very important to the movie because it was the last thing. Think about this. When you watch WCW, the first 2 or 3 matches you might remember.
Right.
But at the end, when NWO hit the ring, nobody forgot that, forgot what happened. They forgot about the beginning, and they just know that the show went out with a bang.
Yeah.
So when I was in the movie The Wrestler, my part was really a hard part to play because if I didn't tell the story that I care for the guy, Randy the Ram, then no one would have cared for him.
That's
So
true.
it wasn't, when people say a cameo, it's not a cameo. It was actually a part that they wrote into it that were very important to the movie.
Yeah, which I suppose a lot of people looking from the outside in wouldn't have kind of understood that until you explained it now. Obviously,
Yeah,
they weren't wrestlers. The writers, producers.
no, they was not wrestler. Mickey learned to wrestle because I was in the ring with him. I taught him how to do it.
Yeah,
I told him what to do, told him how it should be done, how you should react, how you respond to it. I was there to make sure he was safe. So, I got a lot of congratulations, pat on my back from the crew.
yeah, yeah. Because it must have been a lot to teach the entire crew. Like I said, I don't think a lot of people understand, and perhaps you can elaborate more. When you're in professional wrestling, it's like a world in and of itself. You guys really operate, you've got your own schedules, your own disciplines, and things of that nature. And oftentimes, I think people can look in and they don't realize everything that goes into what you guys do. So just kind of explain like a typical day. Um, for the novice from morning till evening to a performance of the journey of a pro wrestler back in your peak in WCW. Just let us into one day of your life.
You know what? That day, if I go back and tell you what I used to do on a daily routine, as a daily routine when I was wrestling, it will almost be the same thing I do today. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I go for a nice run. Then I get back. I hit the weight room early, then around about 8 o'clock, I get ready. I have a noon class, karate class. I teach my noon karate class. And then I just kind of hop around the different dojos that I have and mentor and talk to the kids and let them know what's to come from martial arts. So it's pretty much what I'm doing today. And then like today, I was in the middle of a class and I thought about, wait a minute. I told someone I'm gonna do a interview with them, you. So I had to get out of there really fast. As you know, I had to change the time. As soon as I finish this, I'm going back. I got a show tonight. It's the new Turnbuckle show that once owned by Dusty Rhodes.
Okay.
And they kicking it in. This is the first the first show of the new life of Turnbuckle promotion. So I'm gonna go down there with QT. I think you talked to QT.
Yes, QT Marshall.
Yes, yeah, he's the one who owned it. So he invited me to come down and be a part of. So I still got a little karate. I got wrestling. I just finished a movie with Michael J. White.
Okay.
I finished another movie called the Unbreakable Bunch that was with Ray, Luther Big, got about maybe 3 or 4 other guys in there, but their name just dropping me right now. Tonga is in it. It's got a lot of wrestling, got a lot of cameos in there from wrestlers, but it's a good one. Yeah. So, it's a good movie to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, no, excellent. Yeah, we'll put a description, we'll put a link in the description or a little description of the movie so people can find it. And obviously I see behind you the Cat's Corner podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the Cat's Corner is what you think it is. It's the cat. It's me communicating and interviewing my friends. You may get mad if you listeners, you may get mad. You may smile, laugh, but you know what? You're gonna be entertained truly.
Yeah.
By watching the Cat's Corner.
Yeah, you definitely are a stellar entertainer, Ernest. Another question I had for you was you had a WWE, you were in WWE, and then shortly after that, obviously you departed the company, and that's when you kind of started focusing on these other endeavors. Was it difficult for you to leave the WWE, the TV program of pro wrestling, or was it an easy transition for you?
No, I made some pretty good money my first go around with WCW.
Okay.
So when I got to WWE, I was only there because they wanted me to be there, and I was able to be in the two largest company in pro wrestling.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's like you got WCW, which was a large one. Now the only one that left is WWE. So, you know, and they said, hey, we want you to come and try out. So it was pretty easy for me to make that decision. But I said I'll give it a 4-year try, 3 to 4 year. And I just want, by that time I was in my 40s. I said I just wanted to be able to say, hey, I once worked in the largest wrestling company in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when it was time to go, it wasn't really hard because it wasn't my type of world. You know, with the things that were that was going on up there at that time was something that I really didn't enjoy. You know, I didn't enjoy the way it felt. You know, when I was in WCW, everything was happy.
Yeah.
Writers were writing. But when you get up there, it's almost like it's a different world.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like you got to ask permission to go take a piss.
Jeez.
Hey, can you know? It was like that, and you just didn't know who to talk to. You know, especially a new guy coming in, because you got to remember, I didn't go the route of most people that ever got into WWE. Most people that got into WWF started by working in territories.
Yeah.
They started working in the indie shows. They build a name. So by the time they got there, they was already well on their way and on their career as learning, being a pro wrestler. I went straight from teaching karate and being a martial artist to being one of the biggest company in the world to now the biggest company in the world. And I knew nothing about wrestling. I didn't know the name of the holes. I didn't know what to do if the fire bell rung. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to learn on the way, or at least know enough to like they said, get out the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you certainly, it was sink or swim. And I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
you definitely knew how to swim. That was for sure. Obviously, you had memorable moments. We talked about James Brown earlier. What was that like for you? Were you a fan of James before you had that
Oh
night?
man, I was a big fan of James Brown. Man, I was a fan of James Brown when I was 5 years old. I used to watch him on TV and thought he was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So you know, yeah, I was a big fan. That's the only reason. You got to understand, when I was on TV and I had the world in my hand. All I had to do is entertain. So what you saw was what was inside of me.
Yeah.
James Brown was one of those things, a part of those things that was inside of me. Watching him do his side show and watching the way he act, watching the way he talked, watching the way he was singing. He was singing, watching the way he danced. All that came out into my character, and I was able to live it out in front of the whole wrestling world.
Yeah.
So when James Brown came, man, it's like what I was saying before. I don't know if most fans don't know, but a match, sometimes you had to call the match outside the ring. Then when you get outside, when you get in the ring, just to make sure things connect, what you want to do is you want to practice and you want to have good timing. And it's hard to do, even though you guys been on the road for 3 years together. It's still hard to line up with certain things that it take to make a good match when you're in the ring and you got the cameras rolling.
Yeah.
But when James Brown came to the ring, we called nothing. I didn't say when we were going to dance. I didn't say if we were going to dance. It was just he was supposed to come to the ring. So as he came to the ring, he got in the ring. The first thing I did, and what I usually do, I said, "Hey, turn my James Brown music off." So that means the people upstairs turn the music off so I can talk. But soon I said, turn my James Brown music off. James Brown looked at me and said, man, play my music.
Yeah.
It was just in sync. And I was like, man, play my music. And then the music kept playing. People don't understand, doing that whole thing after that when James Brown came out. we had music going the whole time.
Yeah.
So James Brown and I couldn't talk. We couldn't give signal to each other. But what I did what was inside of me, and James Brown knew everything I was gonna do. He knew what to do when I did it. When I did my split, when I went down to my knees, he put the cape on me. We
Yeah.
never called anything. And I realized the reason he called, he was able to be on time with everything I did because it was his stuff.
Yeah. Yep. He
So
knew.
that show you how much, that show you how much we studied. I mean, from the time we he came out there to the whole time we had out there, Sting was the first person to approach me. I distinctly remember leaving the ring, walking back to the thing, and Sting was coming out. And Sting looked at me, he said, "Cat, that was good, man." And people know Sting is a real honest person and kind of quiet to himself. He said, "Man, that's the best thing on this show, on the pay-per-view."
It was
So,
it was great. That was, I believe it was Super Brawl 2000.
I wasn't super, yeah, it was, you're right, it was Super Bowl 2000, you're right.
Super Brawl 2000. And that was a time, I think you and I have discussed that in the past briefly, but that was a time when WCW was going through a lot of changes. That was right around the time. I'm not sure you were there, but I know Eric Bischoff took some time out, and
Yeah.
Vince Russo was running the show for a while there. So what was that like? Because you obviously lived that. You lived when the ratings were beating WWE, and then, as the company got smaller and smaller until it was purchased by Vince. What was that transition like for everybody in
You know what people don't understand? For me being there and hearing these numbers, when we were beating WWE in the ratings, those was huge numbers.
Yeah.
They wasn't just average numbers, a number just enough to beat the competitor. These was large number for anybody. On Monday night, one of the big shows used to come on with Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
The ratings with pro wrestling at the one time was so big that I heard this from the guys. My Monday Night Football was thinking about going to Tuesday night. Cause
Right.
wasn't nobody watching it. Everybody was watching the Monday Night War. Now, this is the funny part, is even as the company say so, like you say, start to get smaller, the numbers were bigger than the numbers are today.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, very
The
true.
numbers were still like huge numbers that in the network wanted a TV show that were bringing those numbers in. So the numbers were still really, even without, when they did the so-called thing to where they sent the millionaires home.
Mhm.
That means Hogan, Steiner, all these top guys. That's just what it means, the top guys.
Yeah.
And they had the young bloods. They had me as the commissioner. Man, the numbers were still doing good. The numbers were doing good.
Yeah.
They wasn't bad numbers. I don't think they got rid of WCW and sold it to WWE or Vince McMahon because the numbers were bad.
Mhm.
I think no one just did not know what to do with pro wrestling after Ted Turner and the other company came in.
Yeah. Yeah, because it
When
changed.
Ted was already there, but when the other company came in.
Yeah, because it changed significantly. I mean, I remember, the storytelling with WCW was definitely a lot more family, even though you had the NWO. You still had the fun, like you mentioned. It was very fun, WCW. Whereas WWF at the time was going in that, more of
Where they are right now.
Yeah.
Where they are right now with what's going on with Vince McMahon and all the stuff that you're hearing about Vince McMahon, they went into the gutter and they stayed there.
Yeah.
That's what we're going on. We couldn't even curse on TV, let alone try to smack a lady.
Yeah.
Lady come on there and show her boob. You couldn't do that. But WWE was doing all of that.
Right.
They had a, if you may not remember that, they had a sex scene in the middle of the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do remember they were getting very risque at the time.
Oh man, they went above risque. They went straight to titty and ass.
Yeah, yeah. It was a different time. Sorry about that. I was We had some technical
No,
difficulties there, if you saw that, but
no, it's okay. It's all
I,
right. Yeah, so they were straight there, but Vince was not going to lose, and he knew exactly what people wanted to see.
Mhm.
His my, you know what?
Yeah.
He pulled his pants down and told somebody to kiss his ass, which I thought was a little strange for a grown man to want to show his ass in the ring for somebody to kiss it.
Yeah.
Now, but after hearing what was going on with him taking poops on people's heads that he worked for, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna leave that out, but you've brought it up. Obviously now there.
No, he brought it up and
Yeah,
he spit it out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of bad publicity right now for Vince.
But you know what? I don't think it's just for Vince. I think it's just, man, listen, that's what WWE and that's what power brings people.
Yeah,
People don't understand power, man. I'm telling you, power can make anybody change. I've seen so many. Wrestling is a good example of what people get when they go from nothing to something, or from nobody to a celebrity overnight. Because once they seen you on TV overnight, you recognized by everybody when you walk the street.
yeah,
You recognized by everybody. And sometimes that change people. I've
mhm,
seen it change people. I've seen people come in humble, nice. Soon they start getting a little money, getting a little fame. I've seen it treat people like crap.
mhm,
They just change their whole personality,
yeah,
their whole being.
yeah,
It's more like, here I am. You guys don't deserve me though.
yeah.
And just a couple of before they went on TV, they were just so humble and so nice. All they wanted to do is wrestle and
Mm.
entertain people.
So now you are exception to that rule. I've known you for a number of years, and you're a very humble man, and you're willing to help and give back to others, and you've kept grounded. So, what is it for you, do you think, Ernest, that has kept you in that humble position and didn't allow you to go to these other places?
I believe that what the Bible said about pride,
Yeah.
pride in anybody, a man especially, can keep you out of heaven.
Hmm.
And I just don't believe in having pride. I say I'm the greatest, but I know God is the greatest, and He just gave me the power to do the things that I can do. That's
Amen.
just simple as that.
Hmm.
So, so I'm not, you know, I have no reason to feel like I'm better than somebody else, especially because of something man made. Money, man made that. Power, man made the thing they call power that control people who with less power. So when I think about all this stuff like that, man, it doesn't bug me. It doesn't make me into who I am. What made me into who I am was my family, the love for my family and love for people love.
Amen. Amen. That's great to hear, Ernest. It's very uplifting to hear. And I suppose that would lead us into the other question I have for you. This show I created, Victoire, is French for victory. So, yeah, maybe we can give some hope or some inspiration to somebody who watches this video. You have victored many things in life, Ernest. Obviously, you give glory to God. This is your driving force. But have you got any words of wisdom for somebody who's trying to victor a certain goal or a certain issue in their life? Any words of wisdom?
The wisdom. Hmm. Sometimes I think to give wisdom, you got to have wisdom.
Hmm.
And I think wisdom just comes with sometimes luck
Hmm.
and planning and
Hmm.
hope that things turn out the right way. So you can live that life first and understand that life would
Yeah,
allow wisdom.
yeah,
That's why I believe you get wisdom
yeah.
from living it first.
Hmm.
Then you're able to feel it and explain it
Hmm.
last.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could just say, plan for success,
Mhm.
do all you can do. And then once you get back and you think about what you've done, you have the wisdom to maybe make it better or pass it on to somebody else.
Yeah, excellent. That's very good. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ernest. I appreciate.
Mhm.
I'm sure our viewers are going to appreciate that likewise. So, Ernest, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. I'd like to be able to have you on again so we can perhaps
Oh,
do some more questions and go a little bit deeper.
okay, yeah. Yeah. I'm here. You got my phone number. Just call, let me know.
Absolutely. All right. So, everybody, thank you for joining us today on Victoire. Thank you to our guest again, Mr. Ernest the Cat Miller. Everything that you need to know will be in the description of the video below. And until next time, Victoire. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Victoire. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you would like to get in contact with us, please use the email address in the description of the video below. And until next time, Victor what you must victor in your life, Victoire.